Perfect. Nazanin John, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Hello, everyone.
Well, you obviously need no introduction to all of us. Most of us have been following your career from Homeland to everything else that you've done. But I thought we could use the 10, 15 minutes we have together to dig a little bit more into your sort of Persian, Iranian heritage, culture, civilization. So maybe I'll just start off by telling us a little bit about your childhood, which is my understanding is you left Iran when you were an infant. But based on everything you've done, it sounds like Persian culture, Persian civilization has had a big part in your life. How did you get exposed to it as a child in London?
Well, you're right. I was 20 days when my parents had to escape Iran, and we were essentially refugees in the UK where I was raised. But I think, from the fenugreek and the saffron in our food to the sounds of the incredible Gugush and Haide and Daryush, and the list goes on, at our mehmunis and our parties, to just the pictures of my parents' wedding and their time in Tehran in their youth hanging on our walls, to my mother forcing me into Persian classes on the weekends when I really didn't want to give up my weekend. I really, really didn't want to study on a weekend after being in school all week. Oh, what does that sound? And, I didn't really appreciate it then, but language is how we connect to the people inside and to each other. And my father, every night, instead of lullabies, I'll never forget, he wouldn't tell me random stories. He would read the Shahnameh and Ferdowsi and Hafez, and of course I was just like, I don't know what this man is saying, but I did fall asleep. But he would also tell me stories about Cyrus the Great and my ancestor, his mother, my paternal grandmother's great-great-grandfather was Safi Ali Shah, who was a Sufi master and a poet and a philosopher. And Yaqub al who is like, I think in English it would be Yaqub al-Safar, who revived Persian culture after the Arab conquest. So that was my childhood.
That's wonderful. That's so interesting. And something I think a lot of us who are raising kids here face the same challenge of how to provide a bridge for them to keep in touch with Persian culture and language. I know Sanam is around here who teaches a lot of our kids Persian, thanks to her. In your performances, sort of following your career, there's sort of a classically emotional charge to a lot of your characters, which for a lot of us who are from Iran, there's sort of a Persian quality to the sort of depth of the emotion of your characters. Is there any sort of Persian reference, Persian something that a moment that comes to mind that you think actually affected your performances?
I mean, I think, as I was saying, we are a people who have overcome and survived multiple conquests. So, it was Alexander the Great and the Arab conquest and the Mongolian conquest and the Allies in World War II, and then the current 46 years, past 46 years that we've experienced, and we've always survived. So we are a very resilient and tenacious people. And what has saved us has always been Persian culture. It's always been a sort of a revival and a keeping alive of Persian culture. So when every time I have a role where I have to tap into any kind of resilience, I think of the Persian people. I think of Persian women. I think of, it's odd because 2 months before the murder and custody of Mahsa Jina Amini, I was at a place called Comic-Con promoting a show I was on called Rings of Power, and I dedicated that role to the people the women of Iran. I had no idea that 2 months later the inception of Woman Life Freedom would happen. But I know that for the past 46 years that the women have been on the front lines of change, despite the grave injustices that they face. And so that's what I tap into. They are my teachers, and the Iranian people's resilience is always something. If a role calls for resilience. That's where I get it from. And also Claren counterpart, for example, you know, she was indoctrinated, you know, and stripping indoctrination, which I think is such an important thing that we need to do, is also something that I draw from the Iranian people.
Oh, that's very interesting. Thanks for that. And I think a lot of us who've moved from Iran here kind of go through that deconstructing of indoctrination, as you mentioned. Do you have a favorite Persian poet, story, sort of cultural reference, something grandmother told you? Is there something that sticks out in your mind?
There's so many. I don't think I can pinpoint one. Although I do love Conference of the Birds by Attar, 12th century poet. And the reason for that is it's timely and it's timeless, in the sense that, you know, the lesson there, for those who don't know, is that all the birds gathered in the world and they decided to go towards go on a journey to find their king. They went across several valleys. Many of them didn't make it. And the ones who survived realized by the end that the king, the Seymour that they were looking for, was within themselves. It is a story about unity and that we survive together, not alone. And it's really a story about self-reflection. And it's, again, as I say, it's so timely. And I actually, that is something I also use in my work, in both as an actress and an activist. And the reason for that is it is a lesson in self-reflection, and which you really need to do as an actor. You have to have the empathy to be able to take on a role. But also as an activist, you have to be able to put yourself in somebody else's shoes, right? And unity in the sense that on a film set, you cannot make a film by yourself. No actor can make a film by themselves. No director can make a film by themselves. It really is a group task. And similarly, we cannot free Iran as individuals. It's going to be something that we have to do together.
Thank you very much. Maybe to close it off, one last question. You are obviously looked up to by a lot of young people inside Iran and outside, both for your incredible talents as an actress and the fact that you've sort of broken into Hollywood, but also for your activism and your stance on social issues. If they were to leave the young people with one message, one thought, what would that be?
Well, I'm going to take it straight from Zoroaster and say, good thoughts lead to good words, lead to good deeds. That's really where we come from, right? And I've always based every choice that I've made on love. And that I don't mean that in a hippy-dippy way. I mean that in the sense that we are all angry. We are rightfully upset, and we resent this regime that has been oppressing our people. And many of us here have been oppressed. Our families have been oppressed. We've been exiled, and we've lost so much. We have two choices, two paths to follow. One of them is, do we use that hate to fuel us? My goodness, that's just exhausting, and it will stop us. It won't lead to where we need to go. Or do we anchor our work in love for the disenfranchised, love for each other, and let that drive us? And that, you never get tired of that. You will wake up every morning and you'll be energized because you come from a place of love. So love each other.
That's wonderful. Here, here. Thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it. Thank you.